Why did you agree to put your complex personality in the psychiatrist's chair?
Because I was asked to do so by the publishers, Macmillan. Simply that.
Did you have any particular interest in the whole idea?
No.
And what about now that you're here?
I just do a professional job.
Does it puzzle you that people are interested in your personality?
Yes, very much so.
Why?
Oh, well, just wonder why they should be so involved or puzzled about me. What I do on the cricket field, or anything about my cricket, is for public consumption. But they seem to want to, many of the media seem to want to find out about the man, what they call what makes him tick, what you call a psychiatrist's chair. Put another name on it, it's the same thing. It's a different coat of paint, that's all. But we're like diamonds, you know, there's so many 58 facets is there of the diamond, and you can't tell why it glows on some sides and why it doesn't glow on another side, and like me, I don't always understand myself.
Let's take your parents. Of the two of your parents, which would you say are the more like?
My mother, without any doubt.
Because?
She was a very determined lady, a lot of inner strength in a quiet way. She wouldn't easily be got down.
No.
She had a very difficult life. I mean, getting rheumatoid arthritis probably is an emotional stress. 6 or 8 months after my father died, she was in terrible pain. She was taking 32 aspirins at one stage, which was giving her hallucinations. She was singing and murmuring. She was actually going crazy, because 32 is a crazy dose to take, and it would have killed her eventually, till I got her to a specialist, fortunately, a professor, and he helped her a great deal. And then no sooner we got over that, then she got cancer, and died very quickly of cancer with a lot of pain at the end. But I only saw her cry once. You know, I never saw my mother cry with the pain or anything. She stuck it out, and she was a very, very determined lady.
And the once that you saw her cry?
Yes, I saw her cry once. I mean, well, it's just the situation about herself and myself at Yorkshire.
She was upset about all of that.
Yeah, she wouldn't let on too easily. I mean, she said to me one day, she said, "Don't let the bastards get you down." I mean, in Yorkshire, you know, because the committee seemed to be always on my back like a sack of coal.
How important was it that you were the eldest?
Well, I never thought about it. It's probably more important to my mother. I never thought about it. I have 2 brothers. They both play cricket. The middle one's quite good. He's a cocky little thing, really.
Did they have your drive?
Not in cricket, no. Not in anything, really. They're just normal, good lads. The middle one's quite a good player. The young one's keen, plays.
I accept far more than you realise. The point you make about diamonds are different, but there are interesting themes that run through driving successful men, and one of them is that they're commonly the firstborn son, and you are.
I wonder. In the last few years of my life, I got more interested into horoscope. Not the English, but into Chinese horoscopes. And the Chinese believe particularly that we're born with certain characteristics depending on the year we're born in. For instance, I'm a dragon, the year of the dragon. And,
you are.
And I'm very much a dragon in every way.
Indeed.
I understand that. I'm very well aware of my minuses as well as my pluses.
But let me come back to something you've written about yourself. You said, people say to me sometimes, why don't you try to be a bit softer in your approach? But I can only be as I am. There's no point in flanneling. Now, do you think being softer is flanneling?
Yes, because what they're saying, I've almost to apologise for what I am. And we can't do that, you see. We can only be what we are. And that's why everybody's different, and we take to some people more than the others. That's why we all have different friends, because we either gel with them or we don't.
But what happens if you're bloody rude?
Well, I've always found, it's what do you mean by rude, you see? It's what one person means by being rude, another person is being straightforward and blunt.
Well, I suppose you're absolutely right. Now, I'm worried about this quite a lot, particularly in relation to you, because it's very much a Yorkshireman's saying that what to one man is rudeness is to another man bluntness. I suppose rudeness would be unnecessary brutality such that the recipient of it is made to feel pain.
What happens if the recipient you're being just straightforward, frank with, is a shrinking violet, and the slightest thing, the slightest raised voice, the slightest firmness in your voice makes her or him go, ooh, I can't stand that, oh dear.
Yes, that's an extreme.
Must we wring our hands and say, oh dear, I am so sorry, please may I do this, or please may I do that, so humble and apologetic. We can't live your life every hour of the day, every minute of the day, being almost apologising for what you are, just because one or two people are humble and shrinking violets.
Yes, I think you'll agree. You do tend to put me in the position of immediately then taking a great extreme. I wasn't talking about shrinking violets, and I wasn't really talking about Genghis Khan. I mean, you yourself describe very, very evocatively in what you've written about yourself the kind of situations which have caused pain to you. But when I put that back to you in terms of your behaviour, you raise things like shrinking violets. But Geoffrey, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about doing to others, in a sense, what I know you feel ought to be done to you.
Yeah, well, I don't mind plain speaking.
But you do.
No, I don't. The only criticism I object to is unfair criticism.
But that's what everybody says. I mean, I'll put this to you. I'd be interested to know whether you think that your character shows up in your cricket, or maybe they're not related to each other. But in a sense, your pursuit of perfection in your cricket is mirrored, in a way, by your pursuit of perfection in people. You have high standards, not only in cricket, but in your personal relationships.
Yes, I do.
You demand that people produce the goods.
Well, I demand, yes, absolutely. But I demand just as much as myself, if not more. I'm my own severest critic.
Yes.
Mrs. Thatcher's a prime example. She works damn hard. She's up early in the morning and works all hours. She doesn't expect any more from other people than she gives.
She's a character you strongly identify with.
Yes. I mean, she's not a dragon like me. She's a buffalo, but she's a very hard-working person. She's a buffalo.
Do you think, looking back, that you had the management skills to be a leader?
In certain circumstances, yes. I was a leader in the mould of Brian Close and Raymond Illingworth. But I needed the people around me, the people who I could have a rapport with, as opposed to people like Mike Brearley, who were very skilled in management. And Mike would make the effort to get on with most people.
Yes. What did you make, then, of Brearley? Because I was thinking, there was a man who, if you like, made quite something of compromise, what you might see as...
No, he didn't. That's where you're mistaken.
You don't think he did?
No, he did not compromise. You see, because he was...
Why did you think he was so successful?
But he was not a compromiser. Mike Brearley had extremely strong strength of character. Strong person. There was only one boss. He was very much in charge.
What did you make of his comment in his book?
Read it to me.
And on some topics, he's talking of you, as, for example, the possibility of his standing down for one of the pre-tour matches in order to give a chance to someone else. It became clear that your view would be inflexible and narrow.
Yes, I know what you're referring to. When I was vice-captain with him in Pakistan, we had opposite views. And I saw no point in changing my view.
What do you make... No, I'm not really asking you that so much. What do you make of the fact that a man like Brearley, with what you've just described, and you correctly corrected me, saw you like that?
Well, that's his view.
Yes, I know. I'm interested to know what you make of that view. Brearley isn't just another of these silly journalists who don't know anything about you. With his comment about you as inflexible and narrow, that rather intrigued me. Because he chooses his words very carefully. Inflexible
means, if I get it correctly, that I won't change my view. Is that right?
You think that? Yes, I think that could be one possibility.
If I have a cricket view and I strongly believe it, no, I would not change it. Over tactics and knowledge of cricket, I have very strong views. No, it was about cricket.
Here I think he meant in terms of
no, it was about
letting
cricket.
Someone else have a chance and you willingly standing down.
No, because I thought it was wrong.
Let me ask you something else about Brearley, and then we'll leave him. But he praised your dedication to your craft. As captain, he says, he tended to presume that others should model themselves on his method. And then he's very critical of the fact that he broke his arm in Pakistan and you had the tour in New Zealand, and he felt that the morale of the batsman was even further reduced by your remarkable insistence on practice on substandard pitches in and around Dunedin.
Well,
Now-
they couldn't model themselves on his batting, could they?
No.
I mean, because he wasn't any good.
Well, he certainly wasn't as good as you.
No, he wasn't any good as a test player. He might have been a good captain, and I'm the first to stand up for him, but as a batsman, you know, I could pick another 15 county cricket were as good.
Yes, I mean, again, you're
I mean,
the
that's
expert.
frank. Now, because I'm frank and honest like that, are you going to call me rude when it's truthful? There's almost every cricketer in the country will tell you that there were dozens of people who were better batsmen. So, just by being frank, something you were talking about 5 minutes ago, is that being rude?
No, one of the things, though, I noticed would be that...
So, I mean, I feel that, you know, he's not the correct person to talk about batting. To go about captaincy, yes, but to talk about batting...
No, I think there he was talking about the ability of someone to inspire the troops that he's got, not the troops that might suit him.
Yes,
Geoffrey,
but
I'll
what
give
you're
you that.
talking
The
about-
troops that you've got.
What
really.
he's discussing there is me handling, when he broke his arm, me as vice-captain handling his troops. Now, the difference in that is why there were difficulties with 5 or 6 of them, because 5 or 6 of the guys that were his troops and he'd had a major influence in selecting, I would not have picked, because I personally did not think they were good enough.
Yeah,
They were not my style of player, they were not my type of individual.
but you'd inherited them.
Unfortunately, I'd inherited them. I'd inherited his people, which he could handle, he could deal with.
Presumably because you speak your mind, those players knew how
Yes.
you felt about them.
Some of them, yes, some of them wanted the nappies changing, they wanted looking after and namby-pamby, and that's not my nature, that's not Close's nature.
Really
not
did that,
Illingworth.
did
Yes, and he was very good at it with them.
And
I
he
give him
got them
full
to
marks.
perform.
He got them to perform to the best they could, but it was still, in my opinion, not that good.
You'll agree with me that while we're talking about cricket, we're really also talking about life in a sense.
It's all about character
yeah.
and people.
Well, let's stay with this for a second. When you say, when you were a member of the team, when you were you did your job, you went about it. But in fact, it is very much a team game. I mean, you field together. There's a whole business of
No,
running.
it's 11 individuals
Is
as
it?
a team.
Say more about that. Because life, in a sense, you could describe as lots of individuals working as a team.
It is.
What do,
Individuals.
yes, but how do they work as a team? I mean, I'd come out with, as you know, some liberal cliche like give and take. I don't sense that would go down too well with you. So, how do you
I'll
see...
meet you halfway on anything.
Would you?
But I object to anybody asking me to give 80% and them only 20. I'll meet anybody halfway.
You'd meet me halfway, would you?
But no more.
Would you? Well, where would you meet me if I said to you, do you think you are, at times, rude?
Like asking me, crikey, 47 years of my life, was there any times I rude? There might have been times when there might well have been. You asked me specifically, I can't remember any particular. I don't deliberately try to be, but I certainly am fairly straightforward. I heard people calling Mrs. Thatcher names for not giving way in the European Common Market. She would say she was just doing her job.
You know, Geoffrey, it's one of my regrets that as yet, at any rate, I've never interviewed Margaret Thatcher, but I have
Oh,
you.
she'll give you some stick. Make no mistake about it. You'll not
She
beat
will.
her.
No,
You'll not beat her.
but I'm not trying to beat you. I mean, I sense straight away, even between you and I, and we've never met each other before, a sort of combative relationship. I'm really quite interested to know the extent to which, when we use a phrase like give and take, the extent to which you'd say, looking back, yeah, I have a tendency to be abrasive. Yeah, I can be rude. Sometimes
No.
I wish I wasn't.
I have a tendency to be abrasive. I am not deliberately.
Do you ever go away from situations in which you'd handled it differently?
Oh, sure, everybody does.
I know, I'm not interviewing everyone, I'm interviewing you.
Sure, everybody does, though. Because you're not perfect with human beings. But I don't go away thinking I've been rude to people.
You don't.
No, not at all.
So when people say about you that you're not only a loner, but that you can indeed be extraordinarily rude, you just feel that that's a complete misunderstanding of
No, I don't. I think it's an interpretation,
Yes.
not a misunderstanding.
So the situation is often truly described, the interpretation is wrong. There's an account, I can't remember where I saw it. It doesn't much matter for a minute. Maybe it's not true, you can tell me quickly.
Well,
I think
half
you
of them aren't.
Yes, quite. Well, maybe this one isn't.
They sound better when you put my name on, or Freddie Truman's, or Ian Bolton's, a personality. Makes
Well-
a better story at the bar.
Well, I'm not in that business. So if this is wrong, we'll throw it
You
out.
must, because you don't know what about me. All you've done is read about me.
Well, what else can I do? I've never met you.
You met me today.
And that's what I'm interested to know what you make of yourself. That's why I'm asking you. I'm asking you what you make of all the things that are written about you. You say, well, most of it is worthless, and I concede that. Most of what's written about most people is worthless. But there are certain consistent things that keep coming up over and over again.
One of the consistent things that comes up is I was pretty good at batting. You never mentioned that. We've been talking for half an hour. You never mentioned how good I was at batting.
You think it was that? You think it was that most of what is written about you and is because of an envy, in a sense, a resentment at your talent?
I think some of it is jealousy, definitely.
What are they jealous about?
Performances. My standards are higher than others. I've been better than most. I've been more successful. I've earned more money than most. I've had more warmth and affection than any player since, for quite a many years.
Would that be a sort of envy and jealousy that would run through otherwise quite talented and gifted players themselves? The Illingworths, the Trumans, the Sharps of this world?
I wouldn't say Philip Sharp's a gifted player.
Well, the first two, then.
Illingworth and Close? Truman. Well, Freddie's is very simple. I mean, Freddie's was very simple. I've written about him autobiography. He was the great name in English cricket, and particularly in Yorkshire cricket. And when he finished, I came on the scene, and the public took me to their hearts. I kind of took over from him, you might say, and probably took over in a bigger way. And that hurt him. He thought that diminished him, and it didn't at all. I mean, it was just a new hero coming on the scene. Just as now I've finished, there'll be another hero on the scene. The public won't lose its affection for me, just like it didn't for Freddie, unless I do silly, stupid, awful things. And what Freddie did was deliberately go out of his way to criticise me unmercifully, vindictively and nastily, and eventually it turned on him. That when he put up for the committee, the members in that area voted him off, and he couldn't believe him. It was like a dagger to the heart. And he blames me for it, because it was about me in '83 that he lost his seat. And that's the sort of syndrome that they find hard to accept. Raymond Illingworth came back to Yorkshire. He thought he was going to be king because he was going to be manager. And he couldn't supersede the warmth and affection the public had for me. He thought he was going to be king and control everybody and be manager supreme. He couldn't wipe out the affection the public had for me. And so it gets at them. They feel angry. And so then their anger and their jealousy turns towards me, and they want to get rid of me. They want to destroy me. It's not my fault.
In a sense, nothing that you do contributes to any of this.
Oh, yes, sometimes I do contribute, because I'm not perfect. But I'm saying that not everything we do.
No.
If we had a fight in a pub tomorrow, the headlines tomorrow will be Boycott in a brawl. If you have a fight with Ian Brolton in a pub tomorrow, it won't be you. Bolton bashing so-and-so. Because him and I are bigger personalities and make bigger news than you. Now, we're both equal to blame, you and I, Bolton and you, if we had a fight, but we would get all the publicity and the blame.
Yeah, there's a bit of me which says that's fair enough, because you get more money than I do as well.
You reckon?
I think so. Oh, yes, I know.
Boss might. Do you think I do?
Let me ask you something else about the single-mindedness and the application. I sense the hours, the application, the practicing. I don't sense much in terms of the loneliness. You come across as an extraordinarily self-contained man.
Yes, I am.
When you toured abroad, did you get lonely?
No.
Do you ever get lonely?
No.
Interesting. Were you always like that?
No, I don't think I've ever been lonely, no.
No. You're not surprised by that?
No. Why should it be? No, not at all.
And in that sense, you could survive on your own?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do too well on a desert island, though. I'm not too good at cooking and all that, you know.
But what about the isolation?
I think...
Would you miss people?
No, I think the word is right. Self-contained, I am. But also, you've got to remember that I've always had a burning ambition and drive to succeed at cricket. So I've lived my life, although self-contained, single-mindedly, singularly, sort of thing, to a major degree, anyhow. It's because I've had this driving ambition to succeed at cricket. So when I've gone to bed early, I haven't gone to bed early just because I've nothing to do.
No.
I've gone to bed early with a purpose. I accept that I've always had this kind of tunnel vision to get from here where I am to there where I want to be, which is one of the best cricketers in the world, playing for Yorkshire and England. So I've had that drive.
Do you realise how extraordinary it is?
No, it's very simple to me.
No, I meant the drive, the single-mindedness.
No.
Have you ever seen anything like it in anyone else?
I've never looked for it in anybody else.
But you've seen a lot of cricketers.
Mm.
Have you ever seen anything like it in any of them?
I think I'm more dedicated than most, yes. I think I'm more professional, I have been, at my game at cricket than most cricketers. I would have been better in tennis or golf, who are far more professional sportsmen than we are.
But now you see the reason I'm interested in you.
Well, I don't know what for.
But because, Geoffrey, your very success frightens people. Because what you do is, or you've done for many years, is you blotted virtually everything out. Your whole day, your whole life, your whole waking, eating, sleeping, drinking or not drinking, all geared to not just 2 or 3 purposes, one purpose.
Sure. I wanted to be the best batsman in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not even surprised by my questioning, though I'll tell you, people will be very surprised to hear that you're not surprised, because, as you know, most people, you must see that the real fallibility of the average, or indeed even the great, is that there are other things in their lives that keep pulling on them. Family, children, money problems of various kinds and so on. You single-mindedly, and it's a tribute to your remarkable single-mindedness, stripped your life of all of those things.
Sure. But you see...
Do you regret that you had to do that?
I've been criticised by people saying I was selfish when all I was single-minded, which is very much different from being selfish, which I believe is doing something for yourself and to hell with anybody else. It doesn't matter how you hurt anybody else. Yes. Now, in my life, I have never deliberately gone out of my way to hurt anybody or to do anything bad to anybody. I've just gone about my life what I thought was best for my cricket. I'm
sure you're right that you never, or very rarely anyway, intentionally do anyone harm.
No.
But in this act of enormous concentration, there must be times when you're less sensitive to the feelings of people around you, less aware that they too are struggling to make a deal of themselves.
It's my strength and my Achilles heel at times. It's
you
like everybody.
That?
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm older and wiser now, but I mean, for years I wondered why people said this and that, why people were critical sometimes, and I haven't done anything. Well, I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. I never went up and punched anybody on the nose. I never went and chopped somebody's back up. I never deliberately ran them out. I never deliberately hurt them.
I mean, would you feel that most of the people you've come into contact don't like you?
No, I don't. No. I don't think that at all. If it was that, why would my book be #1 bestseller?
Have you had as much trouble with women as I think you'll agree, you've had with men?
No. I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I sleep with my cricket bat, so I keep out of the way of them.
Yeah. What I wondered, though, was that one of the things you have sacrificed to some extent is a family life.
Well, it depends what you term as sacrifice. You and some of my critics may term it as sacrifice. If it is, so be it. All I know is what I wanted to do, which was play cricket first.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done it to the best of my ability, in the straitjacket of the cricket authorities and the difficulties that have come from jealousy, but I've done the best I can.
I'll stick with the word for a minute, because you're a powerful arguer. I'll stick with the word sacrifice. I'll explain what I meant by it. I mean that virtually everybody I've met who is anyway as single-minded as you has to make choices about the things that they would have to set aside. Are you saying that for most instances, maybe in all instances, it wasn't sacrifice for you because you never wanted them?
No, it wasn't a sacrifice.
You didn't want them, so that they didn't conflict with a career.
Well, I never thought about it much. I thought about cricket.
All right, I mean, late adolescence. Did you think about girls?
No. Who were they? What are they?
You know the distractions for talent.
Of course there are distractions.
What happened to them for you? I mean, did your mother, as well as warning you about the buggers getting you down, did she say to you, Geoffrey, stay away from the women?
Stay away from the girls, she said. They get you in the woods, they'll get you into trouble. Always follow your mum's advice, you know. You must always do that. Always follow your mum's advice. Mums will always give you sound advice.
They do, don't
they? Think to your cricket, Geoffrey.
But in fact, sacrifices, no sacrifices. I'm still intrigued. Single-mindedness usually means things have to be set aside. I'm merely asking a simple
Well, I think
question.
things were set
Did you set them
aside,
aside with
yes.
some pain, or did you set them aside quite easily?
Quite easily. I just set them aside and I got on with what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Just play cricket.
How early on, do you think, looking back, did this idea about cricket, which became a life, as you've described it, it becomes a sort of life passion, how soon did it take root?
Well, I think fairly early on. But I think for a long time, you see, you don't know if you're good enough. That's the difference. It's only when you actually get there, then you still have the same drive, but you think you're good enough then, you know, and then sometimes you know you're good enough as a period.
And when did the doubts completely go? Or maybe they didn't. Did the doubts come back?
I don't think I ever knew I was a really, really fine player until I was, in the 70s.
Really?
I was old as that, 37.
You needed a lot of reassurance.
Yes, we didn't get it in Yorkshire. They're not that nature, you see. By their nature, they give you backhanded compliments. They'll tell somebody else how good you are. They can't tell you to your face, you see.
What about all these accounts of you getting out or missing a half century, whatever, terribly badly, sitting alone, unconsolable, towel over your head?
Yeah, well, not towel over my head, but no, I would sit in my particular place where I was stripping, and when I got out, I would think about it for a long time. I mean, I never threw my equipment down, I never threw my bats. I mean, all those are rubbish.
But you go over and over again the way you were dismissed.
Definitely, because most times that batsmen are out, if you analyse it, it's the batsman's fault. It's only occasionally that the bowler bowls you such a really, really good delivery that what you could say is unplayable. Anybody would have nicked it.
So there's always a sort of frustration in being out.
Yes. And I'm trying to attain that perfection, that par excellence, where I don't make many mistakes. I don't get out. So I was trying to think. I mean, I used to drive Raymond Illingworth and Eddie Truman and Brian Close potty at times by asking them questions. How can I play better off my legs? And how can I do this? And if I did this, can you show me this? And they'd tell me things, and I'd listen, and I'd work it out. And I mean, once I remembered Raymond Illingworth saying to me, "Look, go sit down and bat. That's done nothing wrong." I said, "But I got out." He said, "Well, we all get out." I said, "Well, I don't want to get out, you know. I want to bat." He used to say, "Oh, go sit down," because I just drive him mad through exasperation more than anything.
Did you ever, during those feelings of exasperation, injustice, feel, this is ridiculous? How have I come to a situation where the end of my world seems to appear every time I make an error out there?
Oh, no, because it meant so much to me, you see.
But it did feel like the end of the world, did it?
Sure it did. It meant so much to me. I wanted desperately to succeed.
Have you ever felt that kind of feeling in any other situation?
No.
Bereavement, or some financial setback, or, I don't know, being jilted, or anything?
Not as much as that, no.
Never. They are the highs and the lows.
Yeah, I've had other highs and lows about things, but they were certainly...
As good as this?
Not as often. Not as often. The others were much rarer.
Like what? Can you give me just one example of an equivalent?
There was a big low when my mother died of cancer and had to bury her, and she died on the Wednesday. Yorkshire sacked me on the Friday. We hadn't even buried her till the Monday. I mean, it was a dreadful time, was that? A really low period.
Had she been someone you'd confide in when you got low, as you must have got?
No, I never really confided a lot. Talked sometimes a bit, but no. I used to search for answers rather than confiding, and that's what I was doing when I was talking to players like Illingworth, Truman, and Brian Close. I was not being silly, as some people would, as you say, you've read certain things about me. I was looking for an answer, a way to stop it happening again, to make me a better player. It was a simple, practical solution to me. They saw it as I was maybe nutty or something.
Yeah, workaholic.
Yes, some crazy
neurotic.
sort of individual and neurotic about it. I wasn't neurotic.
Yes.
I was
obsessional about it.
Well, they would see it as that.
Yes.
I don't see it as that. I saw it as a practical way to try and make myself better.
And you were certainly happy with it. It wasn't driving you mad.
Wasn't driving me mad at all.
No.
You know, if it's going to obsessional and driving you mad, they make all these statements about me, but it never drove me mad.
I mean, you're not a man who's ever felt the need to go and see someone like me.
No, why should I?
That's what I'm asking.
I'm quite self-contained.
Yeah.
I know what I want to be, and I know what I've become in my cricket.
Are you a religious man?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you have prayed before a game? Would you have...
No, not like that, never.
No.
I believe in my ability.
It was
I used
you.
to bat with Dennis Amy. Sometimes he used to say, good luck to me. I say, it's not good luck, it's ability that counts.
Do you think there's any luck?
Yes. But you see, I won't allow myself the crutch syndrome of thinking that when I go out to bat, it's about luck.
Why did you... You did it twice. You went to a medium. What was that about?
Well, I decided to go in '83 when I was at a very low ebb. I've been given a testimonial, then the club sacked me, which is a pretty mean and low thing to do. I mean, how was I going to run my testimonial? Like giving it you with one hand and taking it back with another. And I didn't know where my life was going or anything, what I was going to do. I mean, it didn't look as though I was going to get my job back, so I was going to run my testimonial. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. So I went to a medium.
You were pretty low.
Oh, yes. I was very sceptical about... I didn't really believe in them. I didn't trust them.
No,
but I was quite
it's not something I would
prepared.
have expected you to do.
I was quite prepared to take the chance and see what came up.
Yeah. I mean, are you superstitious or no?
No, not
No.
batting, no.
No.
The batability, I keep telling you.
Yes, that's right.
About me and them.
And you didn't therefore go to someone who you felt might know something about how people feel in your... You went to a medium.
The medium. Just to tell me the future.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with cricket or...
No?
They knew nothing about cricket. It was a woman and...
What did she say?
She told me things about myself that nobody could have known. I mean, nobody.
Details about
Yes,
yourself.
detailed personal things. She couldn't have read them. I mean, I sat up very quickly then when she started telling me things that nobody knew about.
How have you coped with finishing your first-class career?
I think I've coped all right, but nothing more than that, to be honest, because it is a vacuum in my life, a big hole. All I've put is, from what we spoke about, and what you've obviously read, is I've put everything into my cricket and I don't regret it at all. So it's bound to be a hole, a big vacuum.
We're at the end. I sensed at the beginning this wasn't an interview you really had much time for.
No, I'm not against it for it. I mean, when they say psychiatrist chair, it sounds as if somebody's going to psychoanalyse you. Well, maybe that's what you've been doing without me knowing it. I don't know. But I don't try and psychoanalyse myself anyhow. I know what I am.
That was Geoff Boycott talking to Dr. Anthony Clare in the Psychiatrist's chair, produced by Michael Ember.